Hello, my little muses. Welcome to my channel, Mia Minx. You can call me Minxy. Today's pick a card readings are for past and parallel lives that are influencing you right now in this present life that you're living. And we have 4 piles to choose from here. And you may choose intuitively, or we can do astrological signs to find out which pile or piles are right for you. And if you prefer to choose intuitively, there will be a little meditation time offered before we dive into each pile's reading, if that's something that interests you. As far as the astrological readings go, those will also be listed underneath the time stamps below. Okay, so let's take a look at what cards we have here for each pile. So for our pile number 1, we have Wolverine. You are a lot tougher than you think you are. Okay, that's group number 1. Group number 2, Camel. Trust that you have the resources to get through the challenges before you. Card number 3, pile number 3, Manatee. Accept the situation as it is rather than fighting to change it. Okay, and then group number 4 is Rattlesnake. The experiences that you are presently going through are an initiation into fulfilling your purpose as a healer. All right, and that's group number 4. Okay, so as I said earlier, I will give you a little time to choose these intuitively. If you prefer to choose by zodiac sign, please look in the description underneath the timestamps to receive which pile is correct for you. And it can be more than one pile also as well. So yeah, all right, I'll give you a little bit of time to just sit in your energy and feel out which pile is right for you. And then we are going to get into our readings. All right, I'll see you there. Bye. Hello, group number 1, and welcome to your reading about which past life of yours is parallel to and influencing the present life that you are currently living and the present you that you currently are. So let's take a look into this. The first card, as you know, is Wolverine. You are a lot tougher than you think you are. So I want to sort of go into what I was picking up intuitively before we pull any more cards. Just like a couple of things, and then obviously I will pull and keep going. But the first thing that was coming up for me, for you guys, is that there is some sort of resistance to a soul calling, and it is very, for me, what was coming in really heavily had to do with creation and expression, maybe writing possibly, and it's interesting, the past life things that I was pulling for this merchant is the very first thing that popped into my head. and poor, which I know, bummer, but at the same time, like, literally every single person on this earth has so many of those lives. The past is not like it was, you know, rainbows and sunshine, okay? There was so much poverty. There was so much death. There was so much illness. There was war. You know, there's a lot that goes on in the past. It's really not all about empress and queens and all of that jazz. So yeah, so poor. There was something about your soul yearning very, very heavily to be able to do something, like I said, definitely creating vibes. So maybe painting, you know, something along those lines. And because you did not have the resources to get your hands on the, you know, the materials that I guess you need or would be like required or whatever, you made use of what you had. And you made use of what you could get your hands on. Or maybe you even like created something new in order to be able to produce and create the thing that you wanted to create, even though you did not have the financial funds or means to get your hands on whatever, you know, was being sold as the thing that you needed in order to do this thing. That honestly is a load of SHIT. You know, I mean, even nowadays, okay, because there is a scary amount of poverty going on in the United States right now. And, you know, this also could be relevant for right now, that if you are feeling pulled towards doing something, but there's some part of you that's telling you no, or telling you that you need to wait because there's some part of you that's been convinced that you need some sort of certain tool or these certain paints or, you know, this, that, and the third. That's simply not the case. That is almost like a false self-sabotage that your internal world is regurgitating, honestly. And I don't really think that it's you know, maybe this could have been maybe the art that we created in this past life was like rejected, and so there's a part of you that's like, no, I need to get the right materials this time. But if you were rejected in the past for this thing, it's so unlikely that you will be rejected again. And also, I feel very, very heavily to say that this is not about what people think about the things that you create and make. What you are creating, you are doing it despite what people think. You are doing it for you, period. It's about expression and liberation and life and feeling like you are present and getting lost in the things that your soul is calling you towards. Okay? All right, let's pull a little more and see what we got going on, and then I'll kind of like dive back into some of the things that I was feeling or seeing. Okay, interesting. Chameleon. Stay in the background and adapt to the situation rather than being conspicuous and attempting to direct the course of events. Okay, this is also, again, exactly kind of what I was saying when it comes like, oh, you need these specific materials. It also almost feels like if you're trying to manifest something, you're almost doing it in like a box. Like you are boxing yourself in and saying like, this is the only thing that I want, like this specific way. It has to come exactly like this or I don't want it at all. And you're closing yourself off from a lot of like opportunities and expressions and just like, what is the word that I'm looking for? There is this like, it's liberation. It's, as I said before, it's liberation, and also this large feeling of like just, it's, you know what it is? That's what it is. It's like you've been standing on the threshold for so long, and finally you take that step past the threshold. Like you take that first step and you start to make it happen. And when you do that, I genuinely have a feeling that everything else is going to fall into place. But let's see what else. Actually, before we do that, I want to go back to this one because there also could be, in terms of when we talked about or mentioned that you may have been rejected in the past for what you were creating, that also could have happened to you in this life. There could have been some sort of rejection or some misunderstanding or projection directed at you, and you internalized that and you found it very difficult to get over. But again, this is really genuinely not about what people think, okay? And I know that that takes a little bit of time to like really be instilled in you, especially if you're somebody who does find yourself caring about what people think. Like, yes, of course, it's important, but it's important to a point. You know what I mean? Other people are not going to know what you know. Other people are not going to get the expressions of your soul because they're not your soul, and that's okay. Maybe that's not for them, but it could be for somebody else, or it could be for nobody, and it could just be for you, and that is perfectly fine and beautiful as it is. All right, let's keep going. What do we have next? So next we have the Hermit, Virgo. So we could have some Virgo placements. But look at here. What does she have? This is about harvest. Look at her planting her seeds. Okay? This is what you're being asked to. And you're being asked to leave this sort of stagnancy behind. Where you're almost like, you know, waiting, looking elsewhere. No. We're going to make it happen for ourselves now. And look at that rainbow. There's just so much possibility, so much harvest to come from this. And the serenity, too, that Virgo has on her face as she's doing this, laying down those seeds. All right, our next card is the Magician. Exactly. It's the Magician, and the Magician is all about alchemy. The Magician is all about creating. The Magician is all about becoming a master of what you're doing. And so I feel like that's what you are about to embark on. Or maybe you're just beginning to embark on it. And if that's the case, woo, you are on your path. And I love that for you. I'm just letting you get in the details, just letting you soak it up. All right, the Magician. So yeah, definitely, you've got to take it. You know what I mean? And maybe you've been waiting, but the thing is that it's not just going to come to you. You've got to make it happen. Okay, group number 1, you are a make it happen group. Individuation. Yes. Okay, yes, individuation. Actually, let's get back into this card because I think that this card is just so on brand for this reading and perfect. So, with individuation here, we are being shown the depiction of Excalibur. And in that story, King Arthur, as a young boy, had to overcome a seemingly impossible task, which is to pull out this sword from this stone. And he did it alone. By himself, just a small little boy. And so it's that same sort of, you know, I'm sure that he, at this age and, you know, by himself, and it seems so impossible. I'm sure that maybe, imagine if Arthur waited until he grew up and was big with muscles to pull out Excalibur. Imagine that. Imagine he waited when he achieved that as a boy. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, this is for you to do. So are you going to do this now, or are you going to wait until you feel like you've got everything you possibly need in order to make it work, and then you're going to do it? Don't do that. Don't wait. This is your Excalibur. This is your time, and you are going to be able to pull the sword from the stone, even if it seems like it's an impossible task. Okay? Group number 1. I really, really love that a lot. Also, this is very much giving me, in terms of past life also. So, like I said, merchant, but, like, this is so medieval. This is giving all the medieval vibes. And I mean, I appreciate that so much. I feel like definitely, though, some of us here in group number 1 very much could have had a Renaissance life or a medieval life. Something sort of in that era. Again, especially if we were somebody that wanted to create and we didn't have the means to. I can imagine in a Renaissance sort of situation, it's like all there is bloom, like, you know, it feels like all there is like blooming art and all of these beautiful things, and then it's almost like, you know, you also want to be able to produce these beautiful, large, you know, creations that people are just so enamored by, but you feel like you can't because you don't have the resources, but your soul was calling you so heavily towards that you did it anyways, and you made it happen for you. And even if it, you know, people weren't paying attention to it as much, your soul was still so satiated by the fact that you did that thing. It's just, I just have a feeling it's just going to feel so natural to you, group number 1. So definitely hop into that. All right, our next card is the Forgotten. Missed opportunities, fear of failure. Exactly. This is what we've been saying for this whole reading, basically, is that, again, we're doing this for ourselves. And in the pursuit of doing it for ourselves, there is, what is the word I'm looking for? There's opportunity for you to make this so much more authentic and so much more raw and so much more real. What really attracts people to art or things that are made, created, and written, all of that sort of stuff. You know what I mean? So please don't try to be anybody but yourself, because there's nobody that's going to be able to pull this sword from this stone but you. All right. Oh, interesting. Okay, our next card is the Sailor. New influences and wanderlust. So maybe also we were a sailor. Maybe we spent a lot of time on the sea, which would make sense because also we've got some water underneath both of these people's feet as well. But again, water is also related to the subconscious, you know, water signs, creativity, all of that sort of stuff. And we also have like the 2 fish here, so maybe we have some Pisces placements as well, which would definitely make sense with these little creation vibes we've got going on, and fear of failure, especially if we also have Virgo vibes. Girl, I'm a Virgo too, I know it, but we just have to put ourselves out there, okay? Like, I spent forever hesitating on doing this channel for this very reason, and honestly, like, once I just started doing it and I just put it out there and I didn't think about it, and I would just like tell my brain, like, we got to shut it off, we got it done, whatever. Now it's a lot easier. It's a lot easier for me just to get into that motion and to just do it, honestly. So really, that's, I think, what you're being encouraged to do here in order to break apart that sort of cycle that's influencing you, is that you just have to do it. You just have to do it, and you have to do it for you without the pursuit of trying to gain attention or recognition or those things from it. Just create from your soul. And also with the Sailor card too, it talks about new influences. So, you know, this may be something that's very different from the things that you've pursued in your life thus far, or maybe, you know, you would like dabble in it here and there as like a little bit of hobby and whatever. But this has been something that's been like so consistently on your mind that you're like, I have to pay attention to this. Like, I have to do something with this because I can't stop thinking about it. Yeah, so that feels like the influences. And also, let's go back to the tougher than you think you are, because that, for me, is like, if you're feeling worried about judgment, like, honestly, I think that you're being a little too hard on yourself in terms of what you can actually handle and endure. You know, I think that you may be, oh God, and I do say this in the gentlest way, you might just be babying yourself a little bit, you know, just like being a little too overprotective, a little too own, you know, mama bear actually over yourself. And so maybe it's time to break away from that and to venture out, okay? And just see what is out there. And our next card is Ideation, which, like, could not be a better card. So much so that we're going to read the booklet together on this. So this is from the Prism Oracle deck. And Ideation here says, this card is about the growth of ideas and new projects in your life. Now is the time to focus on creating a safe space for your creative endeavors. Literally, be your own safe space. Okay, this moment is just for you and your project. I could not, oh my God, I could not make this up. This is wild. Enjoy your special time. Oh my God. Oh God, I love it when tarot does the thing. I love it when tarot does the thing so much. Yes, okay. I love that I was just, it makes me feel good. I'm like on the right track about this. But yes, like they just reiterated, yes, this is for you. You're making for you, okay? All right, here, this is our next and our last two cards. And let's see what they say. Beautiful. Integrity. Okay? So you are putting yourself out there. And you are putting yourself out there in your, like, oh my God, there's so many beautiful symbolism in this. But like the horns one, that's power. Then you've got a peacock feather that's hanging off of it. So obviously you're allowing yourself to be seen. And what a beautiful sight. You are group number one. And we have this person here in this card who is in their birthday suit. So they are vulnerable. Okay, they're authentic. And then also over here, you've got the owl, which is very intuitive. And then, of course, you have the jaguar above you, who is very like, just that big cat power, that determination, that just like allure, you know what I mean? Yes, I love it. I love it so much. But this integrity is about, again, you creating for you. Have some integrity behind your own creations. You know what I mean? Group number one. And really don't, like, I just have a feeling like you're really not going to let people tell you SHIT anyways. Once you get to that point, it's just getting to that point is the difficult part. And our last card is intuition, which I love very much. Another owl here. So we may be gifted ourselves group number one, or maybe just getting in touch, or we have some guides who look out for us. And if we are gifted, we definitely, I am feeling with these owls here, we have some clairvoyance for sure. And we have our beautiful black cat over here. And our also right here, okay, we got a spider and the web that we weave. And you are on your beginning journey towards weaving a web that is just for you. And if people react well to it, then that's great. And if people, you know, maybe aren't paying attention to it, it doesn't matter because it wasn't for them anyways. It's just for you. Just express and allow yourself to do that. And do yourself the favor of acknowledging that when you create, that is just as important as when you work. Okay, you know, you might tell yourself like, oh, I can't do this because I have to do this instead. Brilliant. Create, because that's why your soul is not leaving you alone about it. That's why your soul is always on your butt about creating, because you're pushing it aside. Okay, so breathe life into your art, into your writing, into whatever creations and expressions that are calling out to you. Breathe life into it using your emotions, okay? And don't get caught up thinking that you need to have the best materials, because that just, it's simply not true. You are so resourceful. You are very resourceful. And, you know, maybe someday you will and can get your hands on them. But I just have this feeling like even when, if you can or do, you're like not even going to be that impressed by them because you ended up making a better method, or you prefer the method that you came up with instead. And so you're like, it would almost be like, if going back to that example we said earlier, like imagine if King Arthur waited, right? And like, it's that same thing. Imagine if you waited and then you just not like, think of all the things you missed out on in that time. And then not only that, you could be disappointed with what you received because you might have been able to do it better on your own. Right? Okay, group number one. This is all that I have for you when it comes to, you know, what situations, what lives are currently influencing the present life that you are living right now. So if you resonate with this, I would love to hear about it in the comments. I love past lives so much. It's like my thing. Yeah, so if you want to tell me about it, I would love that so much. Yeah, and if you want to keep up, subscribe, and I will see you in your next reading. Okay, goodbye, group number one. Hello, group number two, and welcome to your reading about what past lives are currently paralleling or influencing the life that you are presently living and the you that you currently are. So if you pick the camel, trust that you have the resources to get through the challenges before you, then this is your pile and this is your reading. And before we jump in, I'm just going to go off what was coming to me intuitively about this. Past lives are my jam. I love them very much. It's almost like how I got started with my spiritual journey. So it's my bread and butter. So when I was feeling out the energy for you, group number 2, what started to come to me, interestingly enough, was that in the past, you were in some type of management position. Now, I know that kind of sounds silly when I'm referring to a later time, but that's the word that came through, manager, which I thought was so interesting. But then, as it started to kind of expand, I could see that you were, either you were in charge of building or detailing or creating some large project. But what you worked for, it wasn't necessarily a creation of your own. This was for somebody that was in a higher position than you. So you were working under someone, doing the bidding of another person. It was your job, obviously, and you did it extremely well. That's a thing. Like, that just kept coming through about, like, efficiency, okay? You were definitely favored because of this. You were trusted. You were so efficient. Like, you took your job seriously. And because of that, you were favored by the high class. But, because you likely came from low class and worked your way up to that position, what was coming through was that there was a chance that you may have been disliked by the low class or like where you came from. And so you were in this very weird middle ground in this life. And it was difficult because you got where you were because of your diligence to go far and your consistency and how focused and detail oriented you were. You were eye on the prize sort of person and always had that type of mentality for whatever situation that you were going into. But again, while you did what you had to do, it definitely created some sort of internal conflict. Oh no, not my camera is getting hot. Okay, I'm gonna let my camera cool down real quick. I'll be right back, guys. Okay, group number 2, we're back. If I have to pop out again because of my camera overheating, I'll let you know. I apologize about that, but let's get back into it. Okay, so while my camera was cooling down, a couple of things came through. So the first thing that came through was the idea or this visualization of being under a pharaoh, and it was sort of like a my liege situation. But the thing is just like, you weren't a kiss ass. That's not what it was. You weren't a kiss ass. You just had the chops to do what needed to be done. And you were the person for the job, period. Like, nobody could outdo you. It was you. All right, let's see what our next card is. Weasel. Be silent, pay attention, and simply observe with your ears, eyes, and physical feelings what is happening inside and all around you. This is fascinating because I was also feeling this too. Again, when I was talking about you being in almost like a liminal space, because, it's not like you were middle class or that sort of thing. It was, it was a positional sort of class that you were in. It's so, I don't know how else to explain it. That's just what's coming through for me, so that's what I'm gonna say. And so there was dissonance within yourself that just caused you to always be in this, how do I want to explain this? there was so much dissonance in yourself that you were often outside of yourself a lot. And what do I mean by that? What I mean by you being outside of yourself a lot is I mean of you being like a voyeur of the world. This is somebody who is just constantly taking in everything. I mean, how else do you think that you were so good at your job? You were not just, you know, the eyes, you were also the ears and the hands and the mouth, and you got it all done. Like you heard what needed to be heard, you said what needed to be said, you did what needed to be done, like all of those sorts of things. Like it just seems like you were somebody who was so on top of it. And that might be relevant to the person that you are right now in your life. I have a feeling we're going to get into it a little bit in the rest of the reading. But I also feel right now in terms of like dissonance, right? When you're like, oh, in this middle ground, I feel like there's a possibility that you have this about yourself, if that makes sense. Like you can be the best person for the job, boopity boopity boop, when you have like a boss, you know, when you have things laid out. But when you're doing it for you, you may struggle to turn it on in the way that you are able to when you're doing it for somebody else. We'll get more into that later, but okay, group number 2. For your next readings, we are also going to read the little journal together. This is from the Celestial Tarot deck. So your first card that we're going to pull out is 4 of Swords, or Pisces Australis. And there's a couple things I'm getting out of this. The first one is just in the imagery of the fish here. It almost seems like this fish is regurgitating, right? And so it's like something comes in and it just goes right back out. And I think that that's what I sort of mean by that managing of like, you know, you can take these, what is the tasks, you know, or goals or whatever from other people, and you can just make it happen. But you also have to be able to make it happen for you. Let's see what this says specifically in the book. Okay. 4 of Swords. Below the water bearer of Aquarius lies the southern fish, drinking the waters being dispensed from the urn. This card is the first. I know it's deacon. Is it deaconate? I'm going to say that. Of Aquarius. And the fish symbolizes the vessel for this electric, highly charged energy. While the nature of this watery creature is at odds with Aquarian ideals, the card is suggesting it is time to digest what is past. Ooh. Okay. The reflection, retreat, and introversion energies can coalesce into a more coherent and organized plan. Meditative time is needed to assimilate the disconnected threads left hanging after a stressful and pressurized period. That's so fascinating. I definitely think that that relates to your past life. I mean, it also could be relating to something that you're going on right now. Let's see what our next card is. Canis Major, 8 of Swords. Got a lot of sword energy going on here. I wonder if that's relevant to your past life as well. But the dog certainly is, because there is that sense of loyalty, right? And there is that sense of obedience, if that makes sense. Okay, so let's take a look at the journal here. Make sure we're in frame. Okay. 8 of Swords. The larger of the 2 heavenly hunting dogs of Orion. This constellation includes the bright star Sirius, whose helical rising ushered in the heat of the dog days. The Greeks alternatively saw it as a hound of Orion or Actaeon, even Cerberus, the hound of Hades, and Mera, the faithful guide that led Aragon to her father's buried corpse. The Egyptians also associated Anubis, their guide to the underworld, with Sirius. Hence, the card recollects both the hunting hound and the underworld guardian. Psychologically, it reveals guarding an unconscious position. Oh my god, that can be reversed through conscious self-exploration. Oh my god! That gooped me even, group number 2. Woo! That's wild! Okay. Oh, so, okay. If we are super stuck in this, then I definitely recommend past life regression. And you can do that on your own. This is what I like. This is how I got into past lives. I got introduced to Brian Weiss and Many Lives, Many Masters, and all of the things that are there. And he has a lot of audio hypnotisms on Audible. There's some of them. There's also one on YouTube, and that's the one that I originally got into. Honestly, you know what? Now that I'm mentioning this, why don't I just link it below, because I honestly recommend this so much. I love it so much. It just busted the doors open for me. Like, I can't express how much testing that out and trying it for myself just really altered and changed my life. And, you know, if you are somebody that is a Pisces or an Aquarius, I feel like meditating might come a little bit easier to you. And so that maybe, I mean, especially if you're a Pisces, I feel like this is definitely something that you would like very much benefit from. And so, you know, why not try it out? Just try it out, right? I couldn't recommend it enough. Let's see what else we've got going on here. Sensation. Okay. Yeah, so that's interesting. The labyrinth of sensation. Yeah, you know what? That makes sense, actually, because if we're talking about there being things within you or reasons that you do certain things, you know, like maybe it's easier for you to do this than that, and you really wish that you understood why. Pay attention to those sensations. I feel like there's definitely something inside of you that's calling to be known and dealt with. Does that make sense? Because the thing is that because you were so good at your job, like, baby, you have all the tools. Pivot and apply them to you. You're the boss now. You're the head honcho. You're the cook in charge. Okay? And it is 404 as I say this. So it's not just alignment, but 4 plus 4 is 8, and that's prosperity. So even if, you know, if you play your cards right, but group number 2, you will. Because you are the most manageable manager who's ever managed. Okay? And you got this, and you're going to make it happen. All right, let's see what next cards we have for you. Group number 2. Okay, we have the Guide, Inheritance, and Correction. So that to me is, I mean, and also look at all of these keys. You know what I mean? There's a lot of spiritual significance with this card. This to me is calling you inward. This to me is calling you, you know, or maybe if you do work with guides, this is calling you towards that. There is a life that is asking you to be remembered. There is something that wants to be recalled in order to be corrected. Okay. And look, I do pass, you know, life readings for other people, and I have in the past and all that sort of stuff. But the thing is, like, it's never as impactful as it is when you do it. That's just how it rolls. It's not as impactful unless you do it. It's interesting and it's fascinating, and there's definitely things that you can learn from it. But when it comes to like the emotional and like the true perception shift, it's so much faster and better and more intense when it is carried out by the person whose life was lived. All right, our next card is the Herald, Small Regrets, Longing. Right. So we don't want to, you know, we don't want to wait on this. We don't want to tuck ourselves away. There is a part of you, again, that wants to be known. There's something that is asking to come out in order for it to be healed. Group number 2, when it comes to your past life specifically. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, that's so interesting. Okay, Ghost. So this energy might be hanging around you like a literal ghost. It might feel like a literal ghost. Whatever this energy is haunting almost, in a sense. Let's see. Oh my God. Okay. This reading is doing all of the things. Okay, Ghost. When this card comes up in a reading, it may be because a ghost from your past has been paying you a visit. Your ghost may be something unresolved or repressed, or a person or situation from your past Oh, what? Okay. Pay attention to what's coming up emotionally during this time. Why do you think this ghost is coming to you now? What is it here to teach you? Group number 2. That is bonkers Magoo. Oh my god. That is so crazy. Oh, but I love it when tarot does the thing. So tarot just really did the thing. So yes, again, this is sensation. What things are coming up for you? What are these bubbling emotions or feelings or thoughts or visions, maybe even possibly, that are rising up in you right now, because you are absolutely, without a doubt, meant to pay attention to them. Group number 2. Sorry, I'm just fixing the camera real quick. All right, let's get your last 2 cards. All right, so we have Heaven and Earth. So this is a big duality card. This is as above, so below, okay? And this is balancing our masculine and our feminine energies. This is balancing our light and our shadow energies. Now look, group number 2. This is a judgment-free zone and a very shame-free zone when it comes to past life situations explicitly, because it is just the tea that some of us have been criminals. It is just the tea that some of us have done things that they would never do in this life, and also like feel ashamed of or like sad that they did. But the thing is that like also your soul can reconcile with those things once remembered. Your soul can get a better understanding of why that happened and what you can do differently now and why you are also differently now. You know what I mean? And that might have also something to do with this. It might not just be this desire for you to be able to provide and take care of yourself and, you know, do what you are able to do for other people, but to do it for yourself. There's a dissonance. You're in that middle ground, right? And we've got to, instead of being lost in that middle ground, we got to merge these two things so that we feel more complete, okay? All right, and our last card, of course, is Union. It's exactly what I was just saying. And here's our little butterfly of transformation, okay? Oh, and we have fish again. Look at that. So definitely Pisces could be relevant in here. But yeah, again, it's about coming into alignment with ourselves and knowing ourselves better now. Also, when we look back at our past and we learn from the things that have happened then, that's how we can drastically impact and change our present and our future. I don't think that this is anything to be afraid of or to shy away from, especially because it's been coming up for you so heavily and so consistently, you know, because the thing is if we don't deal with it, it's probably just going to keep happening. And that ghost situation is probably just going to, you know, be heavier, if I'm being for real with you. Because like ghosts, in my opinion, like souls on the other side, like, you know, things that happen that, you know, we don't really know what it is, energies, spirits, what have you, when there's things that happen in which the spirit world crosses over to the physical world, it is almost always because they want to be noticed and heard, even the ones that are acting a fool, even the ones that are not being very kind, or they're trying to like scare you or whatever going on. Honestly, like for the most part, they're just trying to be noticed. They're just trying to be noticed. And this right here, whatever you have going on and coming up, this parallel thing that is currently affecting you, it just needs to be dealt with. It wants to be seen, it wants to be heard, and it wants to be dealt with. Okay, group number 2. And the best thing is that you can make that happen. You can absolutely make that happen. And I hope that you do. And I hope that you get this little ghosty off and on his way so that you can feel a lot more free and a lot more aligned with who you are right now. Okay, group number 2. So if you resonate with any of this, please leave me a comment. Like I had mentioned before, I love past lives. That is my jam. And I would love to hear if you have any stories or anything that came up did relate to a past life that you know about. Yeah, and also please subscribe so you can keep up with me. All right, I will see you in your next reading, group number 2. Thank you so much. Bye. Hello, group number 3. If you chose the manatee, accept the situation as it is rather than fighting to change it, then this is your reading for what past lives of yours are currently paralleling and influencing this life you are currently living and the you that you presently are. All right, group number 3. So what I've done with the past 2 groups is that I kind of am just going to go off a little bit first intuitively of what came through for me for some of your past lives possibly, and then we'll dive a little deeper into the reading and start pulling out these cards. So group number 3, the first thing that came to me obviously has to do with water. So we could be, it's okay, I'm a little split on 2 things because there is definitely a big fisherman vibe going on here. But it's the smaller group of people who watch this. It could have been a fisherman, could have willingly, spent a lot of time out on the ocean in boats and those sort of things, bigger boats, or possibly a Viking travel, or a indigenous person or people who were traveling across large bodies of water, or even possibly by the shoreline. Okay, so then the larger group that we have here is a journey over water, if that makes sense. There is traversing over water. There is a period of time in that life in which you spent traveling in water over a large period of time. And I would assume that this would have been a very significant event for you, regardless of where the destination was. If whatever the situation be, there's a very small group that there was like a willing journey and like a love for the ocean and a continuous going back to it. And then there's a larger group here that this was more of a one-time situation and it was a very big deal. It's really interesting. There's just so much water imagery coming up. I'm getting water bearer right now, so there could be some Aquariuses watching this video at this time. Let us see, or Aquarius placements could be relevant. Our next card is Peacock. Let yourself stand out and be noticed. That's interesting. So are we maybe trying to go under the radar right now, group number 3, for some reason? Let's see. What is our next card that we have here? Okay. Oh, that's fascinating. Okay, so we have the one Aquarius, which I was just talking about, and the star, and obviously we're talking about the water bearer, but this is so beautiful and fascinating because she's like pouring out gems. So, all right, so maybe some of us we were traveling to obtain things for other people. So, we could have been going out and being like, I'm a part of this crew that's going out to get spices from this one specific place. Or, we're going to go get riches and golds and bibbidi boop from this other place. Definitely could have been a possibility there. Also, this is definitely giving me like a whole new world sort of vibe, a miracle, if that makes sense. So like if we were an immigrant family migrating to another country, this could have felt like a miraculous new beginning for us. Maybe it was this like sort of once in a lifetime opportunity and we were just like, yes, we have to take this, we have to do this. And so we did. Let's see. Actually, I would love to read the little deck. This is from the Celestial Tarot deck. Let's read the star together because I just have a feeling like these 2 will be relevant to your story here. Okay. The star, Aquarius, and the mana of heaven. To the ancients, Aquarius was the power of flowing, often flooding water. Ooh! Okay. That is fascinating. Let's just do a little pause right there. Because, okay, we may have come up with, you know, something that could be parallel and influencing if we have a fear of water, if we have a fear of drowning, if we have a fear of floodings or tsunamis or something like that. I mean, water is definitely a huge part of your life, or at least an extremely integral part of your life, you know, a time frame of your life where water was insanely important, or just this like really big bullet point. So this could manifest for you in a subconscious manner, whether it be dreams or visions. You know, you yourself may also be gifted, and if that's the case, please be looking out and picking up for these things, okay? Because they're coming to you for a reason. They definitely want to be heard and known. I think more so for a comforting reason, as in like, yes, this has happened to us then, but it is not going to happen to us anymore. This was a then, not a now. But yeah, that's really fascinating. That just kind of took me off. This has been happening. This is why I want to read this, because this has been happening for every group where I've just been gooped and gagged by these tarot readings. Okay. All right. Let's go back and get this in frame. Okay. The star represents both strands of Aquarius. It heralds a The star represents both strands of Aquarius. It heralds a revolutionary new way of being after a period of turmoil or suppression, and is also representative of a wellspring of hope and renewal. Aquarius's innovative and creative new vision pours forth like manna from heaven, a welcome downpour after the disruption and chaos of the tower. In celestial tarot, is it Hebe or Hebe? Which one it is. Pours the invigorating waters recycled from the abundant springs of life over mankind. She symbolizes renewal, hope, bright prospects, inspiration, and spiritual guidance. The star is a light of the higher self, and is the Heb, the heroic anima who illuminates inner darkness and heralds the dawn of a hope-filled future. Wow, if that is not very relevant to some of the things that we were talking about here, my dear group number 3. So, you know, as it mentions here in the star about, you know, these things being poured in, this is why I'm having a feeling like we definitely may be intuitively gifted here, my group number 3, because there are things almost, this is like being downloaded to you. All of these gems and this fortune and just this like really valuable information and maybe even possibly memories are coming to you. So definitely allow those in. All right, let's take a look at your next card. Cardinal Air, King of Swords. Okay, interesting. So maybe some air signs are relevant. Maybe we have some air placements, group number 3. But definitely right here is we're trying to get some rebalancing back of these scales, okay? Let's take a look at our reading here and seeing what they have to say in the booklet. Okay. King of Swords, Cardinal Air. Balance is key. The king holds the sword of Balance is key. The king holds the sword of discrimination and mental prowess in one hand, with the scroll of knowledge in the other. Together they empower him with logic and diplomacy. Oh my god. Diplomacy. Oh my gosh. I'm sorry. Let's gotta do this again. King of Swords. Balance is key. The king holds the sword of discrimination and mental prowess in one hand, with the scroll of knowledge in the other. Together they empower him with logic and diplomacy, well developed in the cardinal air temperament of Libra. So Libras may be important here. Aware the swinging scales, the king tries to align them through being just, equal, and fair, upholding human values and morals. When the card appears, it foresees a time when logic, not emotion, is necessary. Interesting. The king may manifest through the individual as the conscious awareness to act tactfully, diplomatically, and conciliatory in all negotiations. Ooh, we made it through that together. group number 3, I apologize. So this is really fascinating to me because this goes back to almost that feeling I had of, you know, being a part of the crew that's going out and getting the spices and going out and getting, you know, the riches. Those things had to be funded by very powerful monarchs, and they were. And so it may be possible also that someone or, you know, whoever in this that may be watching this reading, somebody that is watching this could have also been the person making those choices in which you understood what the consequences would be of the loss that may potentially happen, but at that time, in the way that you handled ruling was really a lot more logical than it was emotional. And so, you know, you may have come across as cold, or you may have made cold decisions, but you did so because that's what you felt was not just required, but better for those that you were ruling and the decisions that you were making. Let's take a look at our next card. Feeling. How interesting. Yeah, again, I definitely feel like we might be gifted group number 3. So there is absolutely some things that are coming up for you in regards to whatever past life is currently paralleling your present life. And I feel, you know, I said this to group number 2 as well, and I am going to link the video that I recommend to them below, and I will also recommend it to you. Past lives are my jam. This is really what got me into spirituality and really just busted everything open for me. And I was able to find my way there by being introduced to Brian Weiss and his book, Many Lives, Many Masters. And he has, you know, he has several books. He has audio meditations, and he also has meditations on YouTube for past life regression hypnosis, which is really just a focused and deep meditation in which you are being guided to go back and recover memories that are locked in your subconscious. And so, yeah, I'm going to leave that below, but because I'm getting the same feeling here that you can access these, and it's being encouraged for you to try to access these, to understand these correlations that are happening, so that you can get a better grip on things and to move and pivot in the direction that you're supposed to. All right, let's check out our next 2 cards, group number 3, and see what we have going on here. Oh, fascinating. Oh, okay. Yep. The cartographer, crossroads, exploration. This is very much reminding me of somebody who is making those plans across seas. This is somebody who is, I don't know necessarily, it's not a captain, it's like the person who is behind the entire voyage, if that makes sense. Like, it's like the name on the voyage. So yeah, definitely somebody who is very, or if we're a part of a crew, we're just like super drenched, and we very much participate in this life of exploration. So they know every step of the way. They know what it is going to take to get there. They know the direction that it's going to take, like all of those sorts of things. You are what gets people from destination A to destination B, okay? So that to me very much feels like, especially in the visions that I was getting earlier with you traversing over large bodies of water, that is very much sort of the same feeling as like a bridge when we talk about liminal spaces. And if we have crossroads here, then we might have somebody right now that is in the middle of decision making, if that makes sense, or maybe stagnant in a way, doesn't know which way to go. You know, maybe we have a cartographer who has lost their compass, you know, and your soul is calling you back towards that compass because you know exactly where to go. okay? And you know exactly how to get there. So if you are in a space where you're doubting or having these inner conflicts, then we need to be our peacock self, and we need to step forward, be bold, and embody, you know, what you know and who you are and where you're going, okay? We need to embody our cartographer self. All right, our next card we have here is the Masquerader, hiding your true self projection. Yeah, and I feel like this needs to, you know, honestly go underneath the peacock, because there is some sort of authenticity that is being hidden. There is some sort of untruth that is still being given life to for some reason, if that makes sense. Group number 3. There also may have been some of us here who, if we're talking, okay, that makes sense. So maybe if we have a life that's a little bit more crime filled, which like literally that happens, and a lot of us, you know, do those things. Our souls are curious, you know, we really do get interested in how people can become certain things, and what better way to know that than to literally experience it through a lived experience. So we may have had to mask ourselves, our true feelings, desires, etc. At this time, probably for survival reasons, honestly, but also maybe possible for scamming reasons, okay? Which, you know, hey, you do you. So, but it's for this life though. I think we're moving past that for this life. I think we're getting back to our authentic self and letting ourselves be seen as exactly who we are, and not who people think that we need to be. You know, you don't need to fill a role. Your role is to be yourself. Okay, so just do that. That's your role. And don't feel, oh, this is interesting. Okay. Okay. That's interesting. So, okay. So if you were the person that was making you were, let's say, like, the person behind the voyage, right? Like, you were that cartographer. You were the one who knew where you were starting, where you were going, and how you were getting there. If we were like that, then we were probably doing this for another person. You know, like if we have the King of Swords here, let's imagine that we're doing it for a king, right? So you had to be on your bitty best behavior. You had to be tip-top shape. You probably and maybe had to become something other than you are in their presence or to them, if that makes sense. And so there might still be some lingering traits of that that you have hanging around. But let's see. Strength. Okay, this is interesting. I want this pillar to be up and out, because that also I feel like could be relevant to time frames, especially over here, because like I'm also getting some sort of Greek vibes with just a lot of what's kind of being presented image wise, or possibly Roman, possibly Roman or something. Yeah, let's see. Okay, we have the 7 of water, so the 7 of cups. And let's pull your last card, which is, oh my god, of course. Okay, let me show, wait. I'll show you this one first. I apologize. Once again, we have a water life. You know, so this could, and also a very subconscious life. And again, hello, hi, we're gifted. Okay, look at that third eye being open. So definitely I feel like there are things that you can and are being asked to access in your subconscious mind. Okay, that's, I mean, very 7 of Cups. That is just the most 7 of Cups thing. And again, we've got some fishies, so maybe we have some Pisces placements here as well. I mean, water placements, definitely, I'm assuming we've got going on here. And let's take a look at our last card, which is the Three of Fire or the Three of Wands, which I love because this is really just that little traveler spirit that we were talking about. This is really just like, you know, you taking on the world, your adventurous self, and you also not, this is interesting. Okay, so we have the Strength card here. You know what I'm picking up on right now? I feel like maybe we had some future plans that we were really, really dead set on, and then, you know, life changed stuff up on us, which it does, and like, it's so frustrating, but, you know, the universe is, she just does her own thing, and we just kind of got to flow with it, right? So this is one of those things. This is one of those things where you're being asked to go back and flow. You're being asked to go back because the thing is that you're not under anybody anymore. So you can really be, you can not just be the cartographer, but you can be the captain of your own ship. Okay? And you can decide where you're going to go. And you have to have the strength to feel what needs to be felt in order to stop fighting this situation that you are stuck in or not wanting to believe or fully accept. Which, like, you know, I absolutely and fully get that, especially if we've got water sign placements. Because I got a Pisces moon, and girl, let me tell you. Whew. So... but the thing is that we're also moving beyond this, or you are going to be able to move beyond this, especially because it's our last card, right? It's like we've gone through all of this, and then there you go on your merry way with the things that you have. You know, you've got your little bag that you have, and you are like, see you later. You know, you are making your way out into the big wide world to get done whatever you feel like you want to do. And even if it's not like specifically doing something, just exploring then, and being like that individual on your own, maybe perhaps without like, you know, feeling like I need somebody else to do this for or do this with. What if you just do it for you? Because I feel like you're absolutely capable of doing that. Maybe there's just things from your past that make you feel like you can't do it on your own, or it's not yours to do on your own, but maybe then it wasn't, but it is now, or can be now, if you will allow it to be now. Okay, group number 3. Whew, so that is what I have for you. I enjoyed this so much. Thank you so much. If you resonated, please leave a comment below, especially about your past lives. If something was like, I love that stuff so much, so I would love to hear it. Yeah, and if you want to keep up, please subscribe. I would love to keep seeing you around, and I hope that I see you in the next reading. Goodbye, group number 3. Hello, group number 4. If you chose the rattlesnake, the experiences that you are presently going through are an initiation into fulfilling your purpose as a healer, then this is the group for you. You guys have a little extra special smoke feature going on because I was cleansing for your reading, and she's just still going off, so I'm just going to let her do her thing. All right, so group number 4. As I have done with the past 3 groups, I am just going to kind of like say what has intuitively come to me about these groups, you know, some of the possible past lives or situations, environments, time frames, jobs, bibbidi-boo, those sorts of situations for, you know, what from then is paralleling and currently influencing your present life and your present self. So, first I'm just going to say a little personal note that for this card, Rattlesnake, you know, if you're going through experiences as an initiation to fulfilling your purpose as a healer, baby, oh my gosh, I hope that you are okay, because I know how tough that is, and that is one H-E-L-L of a journey, okay? So, first things first, you have very much done your warrior thing. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. You know what? That's relevant to this reading. Okay, group number 4. Are we warriors? Is this my warrior group? Okay, it just might be. It just might be. Interesting. Oh, that's fascinating. Okay. Group number 4. What just came through is that for some of us here, what we could be currently going through or what we have just recently gone through, the reason that felt so so heavy for you, and something that you still may be struggling with is because the Warrior is something that you have very, very heavily resonated with for a lot of lifetimes. And this is something that like you hold very close to your chest. And something that you're having a hard time giving up, if I'm being completely honest. You don't want to take your armor off. You don't even need it on right now, honey. But you don't want to take it off. And I get that too. Especially when we have come from some shit, okay? Like, your protection mode, is probably just above and beyond. And it seems like maybe now, I at least have a feeling now, I think we're coming out of this. And so maybe soon we will be able to kind of start slipping off our armor and just feeling a little bit lighter and better and looser in ourselves and in our current situation. Yeah, wow, that came through so strongly. That was fascinating. Especially with the rattlesnake here too. I feel like we are somebody who, we're extremely protective of ourselves and we're not afraid to show it, right? We've got our little and we will let them know if we have to, okay? And that's necessary sometimes. That is absolutely necessary sometimes. But I feel like we almost sort of, we wear it as if it's our own and not something to put on and take off, if that makes sense. All right, let's dive in a little bit more here. Group number 4. Fascinating beginning. That was fascinating. Penguin. The period of darkness that you've been experiencing is now passing, which, bless. I'm very happy for you because, like I said, this stuff is so hard to endure. It's extremely difficult to endure. So I'm extremely grateful that you are moving out of this now. Okay, the fog is parting, my dear group number 4. Let's see what else we have going on, and also I have a feeling too, probably like with the penguin here too, right? These little guys waddle. They take some time when they're moving, and that's maybe how we've been feeling progressing forward. And also for this, the imagery that I'm getting right here, I'm just gonna lift it up real quick. For me, what it looks like is this our little sweet penguin in here, which is so cute. It's almost like they're locked in an ice cube. And maybe there's a part of us, group number 4, that also feels this way. A little bit frozen in time, possibly. A little bit frozen in place. Or maybe we just have been coming off as a little bit cold lately too, which could be a part of our self-defense mechanisms, right? But sometimes when we do things in the name of self-protection, we can actually be self-sabotaging. I know. What? Yes, I just found out about this in therapy. I was also bamboozled, group number 4. But it's true. So when we're doing stuff thinking that we're like, doing it for ourselves, this is better for ourselves, and then we find out, JK, we're really fighting against ourselves. So I feel like almost, maybe that's a part of it too. Our warrior phase is almost turned inward, if that makes sense. It's the best way I could really describe what was coming through group number 4. So let's check out our next cards. Okay, we have Prince of Swords, and we are going to also read from the booklet because this booklet has been literally giving every group life. It has been doing the most, and it has also been gagging me, so we definitely got to dive into that. So, okay, Mutable Air. Oh, look at that. It's charging right in, right? Prince of Swords. So yes, ready for battle. Always ready for battle. It's interesting that we have a black horse here because for me that reminds me of underworld vibes. I know Hades has a black horse, and for me this signifies just the subconscious world. And in the subconscious world is the underworld. Okay, so it's almost like, yeah, you've been in this life. Oh, that's fascinating. Especially because we have these like translucent figures here. Also Gemini maybe relevant, air signs also irrelevant. But for me, we are fighting our own demons. In our subconscious, fighting our own demons, group number 4. And this to me is interesting because it may be spirits rooting you on, ancestors helping you get by, just those on the other sides. These stars up here too, to me, feel relevant to guides and ancestors. That's definitely heavily coming through right now for that. But yes, that's really fascinating. But let's read and see what it says in here. This is from the Celestial Tarot. Okay. The Prince of Swords, mutable air. Oh, how annoying. It's like split. Okay. The heavenly twins, Gemini, observe the whirlwinds the Prince of Swords stirs up as he gallops into sight. The twins personify the pace of lightning-fast thoughts, quick silver ideas, and sudden shifts in perspective. So we're definitely doing some shadow work, or have been doing some shadow work, group number 4. While it may be perceived as disordered and ungrounded, the spirit of the prince is championing his ideas and heralding the winds of change. Okay, you better take control, group number 4. Awakening new impulses that change the current direction. Held high in a confident position, the sword signals the inevitable change. Impatience is his shadow, cautioning not to be tricked into agreements or promises that you do not want. That's right, group number 4. I love that. I love that you are charging into this stuff if you have, because that is so courageous. Let me tell you what. There are so many people in this world who every day are running as far as they possibly can from their shadow selves, their underworld selves, their inner child selves, just like even just little different parts of themselves, because we all have different parts of ourselves. We have parts of ourselves that make ourselves whole. Group number 4. I love that you have been going forth, and to those around you, it might not make sense, but you know what? It makes sense to you, and you know what you're doing. You can find the order in the chaos, group number 4. Okay? All right, let's see what our next one is. We've got 6 of Pentacles. How fascinating. This card is really fascinating. Ariga? And I think that those are they, I can't tell. I think that they're goats, but they also kind of look like capybara, I'm not gonna lie. But we'll see what it says. But this is a very, very interesting depiction of 6 of Pentacles. So let's take a look at what it says in here, you guys. Okay. All right. So the 6 of Pentacles, Ariga. The image of the charioteer continues into the 6 of Pentacles. Known as the charioteer in Mesopotamia, the constellation Ariga was also imagined as nursing a goat. Oh, okay. Oh, interesting. Celestial Tarot combines both traditions. Amalthea cradles the kid goats. Behind her is the spirit of the charioteer. Thematically, the card tradition centers on sharing one's resource. I'm sorry, group number 4. My camera just died right in the middle of me reading that, so let's get back into this. Okay. Resources. An ability grounded in the feelings of secure attachment with the foundation. Is that right? Yes. Okay. With the foundation stone of inner security as represented by Amalthea, we are able to become the author and victor of our own talents, resources, and finances championed by the charioteer. All right. So here we go. Let's get into this imagery in here. So I very much love that after reading it, because at first she was looking a little forlorn and I was a little concerned, but also she may be looking forlorn for a reason, because we might be in some little forlorn energy right now. We might still be grieving. We might still be in these shadow phases or experiences or feelings. But the thing is that they're like, I cannot emphasize in this picture, in this or in this card and in this card, like, there are those on the other side who are working overtime for you, group number 4. Ancestors down, and guides very, very much. Like, you have so many energies around you that are assisting you and moving your energy along and bringing you out of this stagnancy that you may have been stuck in, this very difficult period. Yes, you have others on the other side that are absolutely moving stuff for you, and I very much love that. There is literally nothing like having that type of connection with the other side. Like, it's amazing, and it's a wonderful. Okay, what do we have next? Our next card, conflict. That's what I thought. My little warriors. Yes. Boom. So we have a lot. Also we have a shield here. So that could definitely be hinting towards where we were past life-wise. Could be fighting on a horse. Could be fighting on the ground. I'm definitely feeling some like Roman Sparta vibes going on here, but this could definitely also be indigenous groups that were fighting with each other, or even possibly indigenous group fighting with colonizers. Do your thing. So definitely just some sort of continuous, how do I want to say this? Just war is just so much a part of the past. It's just so much a part of the past. But I do feel like you were someone who would more lean into those lives rather than away from them. Group number 4. But that also could just be the karma, and not just the karma, but also like where your soul specifically could go to learn the lessons that would resonate the best for you. Like there may just be something about this kind of energy that your soul understands on a different, or did understand on a different level, and now you're gaining a brand new perspective on that, if that makes sense, which I very much hope it does. So yeah, absolutely. And I also have a feeling too that a lot of the times that we were not fighting for our own cause. I feel like if that's very rare, we're probably usually fighting for somebody else's cause. Although there are definitely times in which we were fighting for our own. They're just a lot less common. Okay, is there anything else coming up for this? I also, with a lot of the, like the air, going on here and also up in here, like I feel like travel a lot. We have the Chariot, so we may have been on foot possibly a lot with having to travel for battle. Let's see what else we have here. So what's our next cards? Okay. Oh my god, the brawler. Like, come on now. Lack of empathy, confrontation. Okay, so yeah, this, you've had some rough lives, and, you, in the past, dealt with stuff using your hands. Words, why words when I can just boop, 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 right? So, and definitely that created a rather harsh kind of shell around you, I think, group number 4. And I think that part of the reason that we may have been experiencing some of the very difficult things that we've experienced in life is honestly to crack that shell off of you. And like, I'm really just, this is me just speaking from my own experience. And you could have a definitely different outlook on that. And I very much encourage you to please take your own perspective on things. But for me, it was really just to crack me open, like in a whole different and new way. And to really just like, I don't know, quit putting up my fists at everybody, honestly, and I think it's kind of coming in for that same way. I think that we're going to be working on that a little bit later down the line when it comes to being more comfortable in our vulnerability, because right now we're really just, we're coming to terms that what we've gone through has passed us by, and it's not something that we are going to need to continue to traverse through or continue to battle, at least not in the way that you had previously. Okay, all right, our next card is the Thief. Seizing the moment, selfishness. Okay, this to me is, giving me, and like, please don't take any of this offensively. I am just saying what I am saying, because it's based off of history and what I've read and all that sort of stuff. This to me is giving me very Knights of Templar, that we are coming in and we are taking your treasure and it's mine, and the king says that I can do this and so I'm going to do this, and bib boop. That's kind of the feeling that I was getting from that. Not so much piracy, but almost what do I want to say? Not dominating, but just yeah, I guess dominating in the name of the king, dominating in the name of God, doing things because there is a larger authority that has given you permission to do so, and so you do it, okay? That's kind of the feeling that I'm getting here with the thief. And also a lot of the times when we, like I said, the back in the day was lawless, okay? It, like, really, when you start diving into past lives and all that sort of stuff and seeing what was going on back in the day, you're like, oh my god, the chaos. So, I get how these things could absolutely happen. This is definitely, like, please, a judgment-free zone, especially when it comes to past lives. We all have some cuckoo past lives, okay? So do not let anybody try to shame you into thinking that, like, you are alone and being, like, a thief or something like that, because that is just simply not the case. But yeah, whatever it is, it just feels like, and maybe also, okay, that makes a little bit of sense. Like, because we often did things in the name of other people, like, if we were fighting for a king or fighting for some religious cause or whatever was going on, there may have been a part of you that, like, didn't actually resonate with that at all or feel that way. And so you kind of just felt like a puppet or a bot doing things for this higher power. And you kind of stole to get your lick back, if that makes sense. You were like, well, if I've got to do this thing, then, like, I'm gonna get mine. If that makes sense. Which, like, I totally get that too, okay? Alright, let's see. What is our next card? Group number 4. Anger. Yeah. I mean, hey, that would make sense when it comes to this kind of life, because what else are you going to access in order to do the 1-2, okay? To get the things done that you need to get done in order to fight. Like, it's not like you're going to go into a battle, and just being like, what up, my friend? Like, no, that's not going to happen. You're going to go in angry and furious and, like, just with all of that fighting for the cause and doing all that sort of, like, you've really got to access something in order to bring that, I guess, like, beast, if I'm, that beast, that wildness out of you, to act upon that. And also, I feel like for you maybe can also see it as a, what is the word I'm looking for? Like a generator of your energy or strength, if that resonates. But, with anger comes other things as well, right? This to me is just giving me, like, fractions, fractal, because I do think that there's a part of you that's not that all of the time, and that there's a part of you that feels like this is something that you want to move away from, or feel that you would be in a better place if you were able to get some separation and some distance from this. I do want to read what this one says, though, specifically, because I have a feeling like it's going to be helpful. So let's take a look. Group number 4, anger. Okay. It says, this card represents an acknowledgement that anger is a natural part of life. It's okay to feel angry, but what can you do with the immense amount of energy that comes with it? How can you transform anger into something helpful for yourself and others? So, yeah, as we talked about, right? Like, anger can be a well to propel us forward in something, but does it have to be conflict? Does it have to be fighting? Like, is there something else that you can use your anger to propel you towards, or a way for you to express your anger? Like, for me, like, I would go and grab a paintbrush and I would just start slapping paint on canvas. Like, even just the sheer, just like, you know what I mean? Just like getting it, like that just feels good. Like, just get it out. You know what I mean? Group number 4. So that would be for me, obviously, like to each their own. You know, you may have your own methods. I have a feeling like probably the gym and physical activity is probably very important to you, something that you engage in often. But this to me is feeling like it's calling you to use that anger somewhere else besides for, I guess, like physical motivation, if that makes sense. They kind of want you to use it in another area. At least that's the feeling that I'm getting. So let's see. Okay, our next card is Body and Mind, group number 4, which I love because I very much think that this is asking for divine balance. This is, and again, like we have these little stars that would feel like guides, honestly. A lot of this really feels like guides. This is really interesting too. Again, this is like the two parts of you, right, that I was talking about. There's like this part of you that knows that you no longer align with this, even though it's like almost what you reach for the most often. And then there's this you that you see that it's that potential, right? Where like, you know that it's there, you know that it's incoming to you, but you're, instead of reaching for that, you're reaching for what's behind you. You're reaching for what you already know, not what possibility or other options there are, if that makes sense. So I feel like while your physical vessel is like, you know, something that you often focus on a lot and spend a lot of time in, and that is very important to you, your mind should be just as important, if not more, because you've spent so much time on these more physical attributes. So maybe meditation would be very beneficial to you in terms of slowing down our mind or finding a different path for this anger to move to. Let's see what else we have here. Oh, I love this card. This is like one of my faves from this deck. The Four of Fire. This is just like the most badass card from this deck, honestly. But like, we have here again, of course, our warrior. I feel like fire signs are definitely very, very important in this reading. Fire signs and air signs, I definitely feel, are like all over the place over here. Maybe a little bit of earth, but heavy air, heavy fire. But this I really love because this archer is working with accuracy and determination. Like, just take in the card, okay? Just take in the card. Also, you know, I feel very much like this is relevant with like Ra and the sun god as well. And just that passion that's pouring forward in going after something so determined with such focus, right? I feel like that's what you're being asked. I feel like what's currently influencing you now, group number 4, is something that is ready to be moved past, something that is ready to be transformed within you, and you have the capability to do that. You are so talented, you know, and you are so focused and determined when you know that there's something that you want to get done. So this perception shift that you have to make is like, I've already done this, what am I going to do now? And then really, really zoning in on that and perfecting that in the way that you've perfected being a warrior. Because we know that you are a warrior. Like, I really feel like very few people doubt that, okay? That's something that's like very clear when it comes to you. But how can we balance that? And where else can we put this energy that's not just what we've always known and done? And then moving towards that and doing that. Okay, group number 4, that's all I have that's coming in for you. I thank you very, very much for watching. Please, if any of this resonated, especially with past life stuff, please leave it in the comments below because I love reading this stuff. Past lives are like everything to me. Yeah, and if you want to keep up, please subscribe and I'll see you in your next reading. Bye, group number 4.